Go. And so, thank you everyone for coming to the locker room to meet a very old friend of mine called Dave Ward, who I've known. Dave, how long do we go back? This is like 2011, 2012, I think.
Yeah, I think that's when we started talking. Yeah, right around the time that you started, sort of opened up Beachbody there, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And so just to give everyone a bit of a background, so Dave and Monica Ward, who were the Fit Club Network back then, and I think Monica had her picture on the wall in the head office for when I first joined, and it was like a big deal.
Yes. Yeah, I'm up there now too.
Okay. And so it was kind of a legendary status to be part of that. And then Dave came over to London with a group of people and met a group of prospective coaches. Even this is going back to 2012, 2013. And that's where we met properly, and we kind of built a relationship from there. But look, rather than me introducing you, why don't I just let you tell us a bit about your background on Beachbody, how the hell you got into this game?
Yeah, it's quite a story. As I guess all stories that are more than a decade long are, which is really that's really the story. It's actually 15 years, a little over 15 years ago, my now ex-wife, but still business partner, Monica, bought Power 90 off an infomercial in the middle of the night. We just had our second child and we both needed to lose some weight. We ordered these VHS tapes. Remember VHS? Like this is how far back this thing goes.
I remember.
We're saying all this. Got results, did the program, dug in, loved it, loved the format, loved Beachbody, Tony Horton, started going to Tony's fitness camps, hosted a couple of Tony's fitness camps, did P90X when that came out in 2004, just found a great solution for us.
These were early days.
Exactly. I mean, Beachbody, nobody knew what P90X was back then. Like, nobody knew. It was just crazy. But anyway, Monica found a community of people. That's what she really found. Like, I found a workout system and a fitness trainer and a nutrition plan and like all this stuff that just worked for me personally. She found this whole community of people who were socializing online via message boards. This is pre-Facebook, right? So again, like the dinosaur tail follows me around. But this is, pre-Facebook. So she established close relationships with all those people through really the Tony Horton fitness camps. Carl came to one of those, Carl Deichler, our CEO, came to one of those fitness camps, found and was looking for people to start Team Beachbody. They had decided in late 2006, they wanted to start this new distribution channel. They were really successful selling stuff on TV, and they knew that was going to continue, and they knew they could do that really well. But people weren't getting the results that they wanted because they didn't have us. They needed a human element involved, and that turns out to be what Team Beachbody becomes. And Monica was invited to be one of the founding coaches and was one of the founding coaches. We were both invited, in fact, to come out to LA for the founders meeting in early 2007, I guess. Or no, this was late 2006. And I didn't go. I decided I wasn't going to go. At the time, I was in my sixth year of law practice. I was a real estate development lawyer, and that was going really well. I was working in Phoenix for the 8th largest law firm in the world. I was they were paying me what looked like a pile of money that I couldn't even imagine at that time. Turns out to not be that much money when you spend all of it, but that's another point for another call. And I decided not to go. And in fact, I was really skeptical about this whole thing. Monica had been in another network marketing company, and we just ended up with a garage full of stuff and no real income and parties at night and things like that. And it just I thought the whole thing was a scam. I actually was on the phone interviewing a lawyer to look over the policies and procedures.
Wow.
To prove that I was right about this. And then that proved to be too expensive. I went through the whole thing with a highlighter and highlighted everything I hated about it. And I mean, like, you could not ask for a more skeptical person than me. But she was very determined and decided she was going to do it with or without me. What happened was a couple of months later, the housing bubble in the United States happened, which is a little bit of a worldwide phenomenon as well. And that really hurt my business. And then a couple of years later, in September of 2008, the world economy collapsed. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. We had a world financial disaster. And my law practice completely imploded and just like overnight.
Wow.
and at the time, I really didn't like what I was doing anyway. I wasn't happy. Monica had started this business. She was doing really well with it. And she was enjoying what she was doing. I knew the products. I knew the company. I'd been on a couple of trips at this point. I'd been to Summit. And I'd met a lot of really cool people. And I'd met a lot of people who had gone from other careers and had made this a career.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, this will be a nice little plan B, right? This is what will keep the lights on until I can reestablish my law practice or become a teacher or whatever I'm going to do.
It's still a plan B.
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into this thing because I get pushed into it by the economic meltdown, which, at the time, it's really hard to have perspective when things are happening right in front of you. At the time, it was horrible. It was awful. I didn't enjoy that. Now I look back at that and I go, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to me was the economy really falling apart, because that's what pushed me into a business that I just love. I just love this business and the people and everything. Amazing. So that's really how I got involved.
Amazing. So you started out you're this ex-lawyer, I guess now by mistake, and you've fallen into this business, helping people fulfill their health and fitness goals. How do you scale from these very humble beginnings to what you have? How did this build?
Yeah, at first, honestly, just by putting my head down and working like a dog. I mean, because I didn't quit. I didn't stop practicing law. I kept practicing law. They finally fired me on March 15th of 2010. So I had about a year and a half. Yeah, where I was doing both, but I knew that day was coming. And it was awful, right? I go to work every day just waiting for the phone to ring and somebody to call me and say, we need to talk to you. And it didn't happen until March of 2010. But I'm really working two jobs. I got up earlier. I worked before, you can get a lot of work done at 5 a.m. It's quiet. Nobody's awake. And you can get a lot done. I worked before work, went off to work at lunch instead of going to, the local restaurant and griping about how we hated work with my friends from the office. I either went to the gym with a P90X shirt on and no headphones, no headphones and a smile. Hi, if you wear headphones to the gym and you think you're going to recruit people, you're just kidding yourself. That says, I don't want to talk to you. Right. Yeah. So no headphones, P90X shirt on, ready to engage with people.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I do a P90X workout, and have the sheets there. And it was really obvious what I was doing.
Okay.
Or I would go to Starbucks with my laptop and my cell phone, and I would work this business. Then when I would get home, I'd have dinner, and instead of watching, at the time, there's a whole series of shows that I just completely missed.
Right.
My fiance and I are actually watching The Wire now, which is a great show. I totally missed it because I didn't watch TV for a year and a half.
You just had your head down.
Watch TV. I just would go and I'd lock myself in my office and I'd figure it out. That's, I think, the first thing is just understanding that the work ethic required to do something like that and build something like this is intense. So that's the biggest thing.
And the time scale that you took, I mean, that wasn't even it wasn't a few months. You had your head down. You were working that early stage of that business for some time.
Yeah, we had a conversation and said, okay, early on, all right, I want to do this. How long is it going to take to replace the income I'm making? And it was look, if you really work hard, and I'm like, Monica, you know me, that's not going to be the problem. If you really work hard, I think 2 years is really feasible. And it was less. It was actually less than that, timeline wise, because I really worked my tail off. The little bit of the mechanics of kind of what I did, and I don't know if I really understood this at the time, but now that I've had time to reflect on it, I do understand it. We have a coach training website, so whenever somebody comes on, they go through a first 30 training that we have that is me talking training, mostly. Right? Yeah. Which really dovetails with Beachbody's training. It's not tremendously different. It's just I want to instill culture, so I think it's important. Where I start people and what I always focus on is these 4 words. Okay, it's kind of our motto: learn, practice, succeed, teach. That's the progression with what we do here. Everything relies on that. So if you think about it, I can't teach you Japanese because I don't know Japanese. I would have to learn Japanese, then I'd have to practice Japanese. Then if I'm working and I'm practicing with people who are fluent speakers and not people who are trying to teach me slang words and a bunch of nonsense, then I might have some success with Japanese. At that point, then I can teach other people how to speak Japanese. This is the same thing. It's just not that complicated, right? We start with your own health and fitness, right? I figured that out. P90X taught me how to eat. It taught me how to exercise. It taught me, how to periodization and all of those different workout theories that are all built into that revolutionary program. What did I do? Well, I learned all that stuff. I practiced all that stuff. I had a ton of success with that stuff. When I became a coach, I just turned around and taught the stuff I already knew. Okay. That's all I did. So I did the same thing with approaching this business. In September of 2008, when the economy fell apart, I didn't have a Facebook account. Facebook was a pretty popular thing back then, but I did not have a Facebook account. I thought that was all really stupid and just exercise in vanity. I also didn't have a lot of friends, and I wasn't a very personable person. So I had a lot of work to do. I had a lot of stuff to learn. There were some technical things that I learned, like how to, and there wasn't a business model either. This all looks, you look back in the mirror and you go, oh, the business model was so obvious. It really wasn't at that time. Sure. But there were people talking about, hey, if you have a blog, and it's like the blog is the hub of your world, and the social media sites are like the spokes of a wheel, and you're always just directing people back to the center of the thing, it'll work. And I was like, okay, I can figure that out. A lot of the time that I'm talking about is time spent learning. That's time spent learning, where I'm like, I bought a $97 course on how to do this thing, whatever that thing was at the time. And that's what the time was. That's what I was doing. I was learning, right? So then practicing and having success, the scaling bit is the teaching part, right? Like tomorrow, the GDPR goes into effect, right? The General Data Protection Regulation in the EU.
We're big fans of that here.
Yeah, right. But look, I have to comply with that, right? Like we're on the phone with a bunch of people here from the UK. Like I'm under it. I know that. I don't just go and figure it out for me and my business and what it looks like for the email marketing that I do and the data that I collect. It's not what I do. I go and figure it out for all that first. Then I go to my people and go, okay, here's how it works. So you don't need to worry about this thing. It's the same thing with Lift 4. Like with Lift 4, if you look at this launch, right, or any of the launches we do, it's the same thing. Like when the 80-day obsession launch happened, those packs were confusing. Completion packs were brand new. We didn't have that. It would have been very easy for people to just go, I don't understand this. And if you don't understand it, I'll just walk away from it. So my job is to figure it out for me, figure out how the launch is going to look for me, who my prospective customers are, make my own list, and then turn around and teach other people how to do the exact same thing. Here's all the information you need in one nice little clean spot where you go to one spot and get it all. And it's very simple and it's very laid out. Here's the calendar of the release and how it's going to work. Here are the different packs available and the pricing. I have to figure it out for me, but it scales when you teach. That's the biggest thing, is understanding that if you want to grow this business, you need to build a team and you need to teach those people how to do this thing that we do called coaching. And the only way you can really do that is by doing it, is by learning how to do it, and then you teach other people. You just can't teach things that you haven't already learned.
And so moving, like, as you've moved that through, because as you say, Facebook was in its early stages in those days, and we've gone through a huge number of different transitions with social media, and now obviously there's the Instagram phenomenon that a lot of coaches are finding success. How have you changed what you've been doing in business to keep the momentum of the business and keep the business going, really? Because it's very easy to not keep up and let all of that stuff just fall apart, right?
Very much so. Yeah. It has, what's interesting about this, the fundamentals of this business have not changed. The fundamentals of network marketing have not changed for 50, 60 years since somebody came up with this idea. That stuff doesn't change. You need to be adding contacts to your list. You need to be exposing people to our products and our business opportunity. And you should be using third-party tools to do that. Like those basic things, go read Eric Worre's GoPro. Those 7 things, those have not changed. What has changed is the marketplace. What has changed is the place that we have a conversation, right? Yeah. I'm almost positive you and I met on Twitter. That's where I really don't use Twitter anymore. For the first couple of years of my business, Twitter was the foundation. That's where I found everybody. Everybody came from Twitter. Then Twitter got to a point where it was too noisy. It was too impersonal. Facebook got better. YouTube got better. Instagram came along later, right? So it's I think about recognizing when those things are happening, and I try not to chase too much. Like I'm still not on Snapchat. I look at that. I don't think that's a good forum for me. right? So I'm still not on Snapchat, and I'm okay with that. I know other people who had a lot of success on Snapchat, and that's great. But learning how to pivot and learning, okay, here's a new platform. Here's Pinterest, for example.
Yeah.
The business is the same. What am I trying to do? Drive traffic to the hub, right? Yeah. So I look at Pinterest does that really good. That's one of the things that Pinterest is actually really great for. So I'm not on Pinterest to connect with people and create one-on-one conversations with people. I'm just there because it's a little traffic silo. Okay. So I learn it, I figure it out, I set it all up, I check it, every now and then, but it's not like, where I'm at every day. That's really Facebook for me more than any other place. But I think it's about being able to absorb some changes, right? So you don't change your brand. That's what's nice about having a blog, really, is you don't change your brand, you don't change your home, you don't change, where it's just you're eating at a new restaurant now, right? So you've got to sort of understand what's on the menu and how does it work. And I think the mistake a lot of people make is they just try to be everywhere.
Yeah.
In little spring, and that doesn't work. Pick 2 or 3. Figure out how they connect with each other if you can. Sometimes they talk sometimes YouTube and Facebook don't really talk to each other nicely, but Instagram and Facebook do, right? So understand where there's efficiencies between the different social platforms. I think that's been the thing. It's not a complete change in course. It's just an adjustment, and it's a pivot. And as things change, this GDPR thing and what has happened with Facebook, with the Cambridge Analytica stuff and all this data conscious, everyone's got data consciousness. It will change marketing. It's going to change marketing on Facebook. That's part of the deal. That's just part of the deal. And if you're not willing to sort of consistently learn new stuff and adapt, it's going to be a problem to keep up in this world. And
Sure.
the way you can defeat that is just start meeting everybody at coffee shops and having eye-to-eye conversations. That never changes. Anyway, you're going to say
and you're still doing that. I mean, you're still doing the face-to-face. You still have your blog. You're still on Facebook, and you're integrating other things around that.
Yeah, I mean, I live my life. So, if we're we were talking a little bit before we hit the record button about a trip that I'm doing this summer with my son. We're going backpacking with this Boy Scout troop. Well, the best backpacking snack on the planet is beach bars. I mean, they're fantastic, right? So what do? Well, I take some beach bars with me. We're going on a trip actually tomorrow, and I'm providing lunch. What am I providing? Beach bars. I got a box full of them. We'll just have those. Everyone loves them.
And then you're going to create a discussion and an invite.
Exactly. There's going to be a conversation there. And I guess just really quickly, I don't want to get too far off on this thing, but on that conversation of what it looks like, I think it's really important to be prepared for 2 things. 2 things that I always tell my coaches, I should be able to wake you up at 3 a.m. and have you recite these 2 things. The first one is a response to the question, what do you do? It doesn't really matter what the response is. There's no perfect response. I tell people that I own a company that markets and distributes fitness programs and supplements, and then I ask them if they've heard of P90X or Insanity. That gets a conversation going. That's what I say. It's not what you need to say. But you need to say something that makes sense. Right. If you stumble there, people go, that's weird. He doesn't be able to describe what he does for a living, and yet he seems to do something. Is he a drug dealer? Like, what is he, right? So the other one is just very easily and quickly explaining the compensation plan. We get paid 2 ways. The first one is your retail sales, 25% on most of those things. For something like BOD, it's 40%. The other way is you build a team of people and teach them how to do the first one. And if they're successful and they build and they have volume, then you can get paid bonuses based on their productivity. Done. If somebody's interested, they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, tell me more about that.
Sure.
I've just given them a real breakdown of how I get paid easily. Right?
So that leads to the interesting question then of you're looking at this and you're actually describing sort of what you do and how you get paid, and you're not actually going out and saying this person's a customer, this person's a potential coach. You're letting them decide, or how are you helping them in that decision? How are you going after those people?
Well, I think from a conversation standpoint, if I get through those 2 things and they don't ask me any more questions, they're not interested. So I'm not, you're still on my contact list, but you're not interested. That's fine. If they start asking more questions about it, then that's how I know they're interested, right? That's why I start my thing by asking them a question, is so we can get a dialogue going. from there, I just take them where they're at, you know, and I tell people, look, you know, what I do is I coach people. I help people achieve their goals and live healthier and more fulfilling lives. That's the mission statement of our company. Some people, I do that with purely with their health and fitness. That's it. And it never goes beyond that. Other people, we start there, and that's really where we focus, is building through customers. And then other people, it matures a little bit, and I still help them with their health and fitness if they need that. But I'm also helping them build a business by teaching them how to do the things that I've learned how to do. And,
Awesome.
you know, again, it's like keeping it simple, keeping it concise. Nobody cares about the compensation plan. Nobody understands terms like Success Club and Emerald and Diamond and Elite. People don't, that's just gobbledygook to them.
Yeah.
They don't use those terms. Just break it down very simply about, this is what I do. I help people achieve their goals.
Awesome. So we're in the locker room. We're broadcasting live in the locker room, which is a group set up by some other guys who wanted to get together and support each other. And I know that, and when I heard that the guys were looking to set something up, the first person who came to mind was you, because I knew that you had done a bunch of stuff with Jimmy Hayes Nelson and some other guys on how you were supporting the other guys in the Beachbody network. And so just wanted to sort of get your thoughts on what the kind of stuff you've done and stuff that's, whether it's what's worked for you, I guess in some respects what hasn't, but really where your focus has been on that.
Yeah, this is some of the most fun, interesting, fantastic work that I've done as a coach with my friends. You know, technically they're my competition, my biggest competition actually, but they're some of my best friends. It's just what happens if you dig in with this thing and you figure it out. Start going on trips. You know, Jimmy and I met on the Elite 10 trip. Mm-hmm. That's where we met, and we have just become lifelong friends. And we were at a seminar, and we were challenged to do an event. And we had been thinking about this men's leadership event. The overall demographics of our company are pretty obvious. That's why there's a men's only group, right? I don't need to educate you on the background here. We started to figure out, okay, how do we do that? First of all, you know, because by holding an event like that, you're sort of saying, I know how to do this. And it's not true, right? So what we decided to do instead was bring together groups of people. And we had like some newer, more successful people, some older veteran type people, a lot of older veteran type people, in fact. And we put on these events, these men's only events. We had Gary Vaynerchuk at one of them. It was awesome.
Wow.
Here's what I kind of have learned from this whole thing. There's certain realities in this business model, like in network marketing. One of those realities is that there's going to be a lot of women in your business. If you're going to build a big team, there are going to be a lot of women who are in your business. So what does that mean? Well, it means you have to understand how to work with them and work effectively with them. There are a couple of things that I think are really important about learning how to do that. And they apply, you know, some of this applies between men and women. The big one with women is, don't try to turn this into your personal Tinder. You know, that's the biggest mistake you could possibly make is trying to enter into like sexual relationships with coaches on your team. It's just poison, right? And at some point,
compliance will concur with that. I know.
Compliance does not like that, but it also just destroys a business. It destroys trust. When people work with me, I work really closely with our team, which I guess is another thing about scale. How do you scale it? You work deep in your downline. Personally sponsored coaches are fantastic. They committed to you, but everybody in your downline helps you get paid. So connect with all of them. You know, I do volume every Thursday morning, and there's 50, 60 names on our like top list of volume producers. Yeah. With very few exceptions, I know all of them. And I don't just know them. I know where they live. I know if they're married. I know if they have kids. I know what they want. I know their why. And I probably know what they're afraid of. Okay? If in order to get to that level, all of that sort of sexual tension that agrees with men, that happens with men and women, needs to go away. Yep. It just needs to go away. And I need to manage that because I'm conscious of it. I know what's going on, right? I need to manage that. That's on me. So if they start flirting with me, I have to shut it down. I never do that with them. If their husbands are uncomfortable, I'll get on the phone and talk to them or friend them on Facebook. Let them just see, hey, here's a normal guy. He's engaged. He's got a dog. You know, he's not a threat, right? All that is, we're working with women. That's one of the key things. You just need to manage it. And it's very easy to manage, honestly. It's not, I make a big deal of it because I want you to remember this, because this is what my mentor taught me how to do. Again, I'm just teaching you something that works. I think the other thing really is communication. Learning how to really effectively communicate with people. One of the books that I keep by my desk is called Personality Plus, written by Florence Littauer. This and GoPro are the two books you read if you're going to work with me. We can't work together until you've read these books.
Okay.
Because this is what I'm going to teach you. What this does is essentially lays out, there's sort of this personality grid, right? There's 4 major personality types. And it educates you first and foremost on which one you are, where you're at on the spectrum, so you understand yourself. You start to go, oh, wow, there are certain things I'm doing that are annoying people, right?
Yes.
They bother people. Like, I'm a real type A, hard-charging person. I compete at everything I do. It doesn't matter whether I'm riding my bike or I'm playing Trivial Pursuit or I'm in business. I compete at everything. You probably don't even know I'm trying to rip your throat out, right? But that's what I do. So I have to restrain myself from doing that at times until I find somebody who connects with that, right? And then I need to maybe go and be competitive with them and create something, because they're going to respond well to that. This book has taught me so much. And that's one of the things I do when we do live events. I'll bring everybody, I'll describe the 4 personality types, and then I'll have everybody get up out of their chairs and go to the group that they think that they're a part of. And then I talk to them about how the different personality types work independently, how they work within each other, because some of them play nice together. People like me don't play nice together, usually. Because we're always trying to figure out who's taller, who's bigger, right? You got to diffuse all that if you're aware of it. But understanding those communication styles, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're talking to men or women. It's recognizing that, understanding how to motivate people. There are some people that, I have a coach on my team. Seems like all I have to do is tell her how funny she is. And she's genuinely funny. Right. She's genuinely funny. But whenever I sort of say, oh, we're doing a sneak peek event. We did one on Tuesday, and she's going to be at the 4 o'clock slot. And I go, oh my gosh, you're going to hear from Laura, and she is a riot. She just lights up. She just lights up. I just know that because I work with her. So you learn these things about people if you're paying attention and you learn how to communicate with people. Makes sense. The communication skills, I think, that's the biggest thing I've learned out of this whole process. Is also the thing that's it's made me a better parent. It's made me better in my other relationships in life. Learning how to communicate with people, I think, is really some of the secret sauce here. I don't know that there's secret sauce, but that's a big one.
Excellent. Look, we're very close to running out of our time. We're probably going over a little bit, but I just want to run and see if there's any questions. But while I look at the questions, I think one of the things I'm going to ask is, you are a coach right now, brand new coach in the UK. We're sort of 8 months in, and looking at what are we going to, how are we going to move this to the next level? What is your top couple of tips right now for a brand new UK coach?
Sure.
Everyone can just write their questions into the Facebook group, and I'll try and answer those. I'll stay those as well for a couple.
Yeah. My advice, I guess my advice is the same. Is the same for any new coach. Really, it's, what do you know already? So what can you teach? What can you teach right now? If what you can teach right now is an insanity class, awesome. Awesome. Go crush that. I know there's a lot of instructors, and probably some of them are in this group. If what you know how to teach right now is 80-day obsession or whatever and that you can teach people, do that. Just start doing that. So what I try to do then is, again, if you read this book.
Yes, read the author again. It's Personality Plus, and it was by
Florence Littauer, Littauer.
Great, there you are. That was one of the questions, so thank you for that.
And what you'll do with this book is it asks you, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Write them down. Okay, don't just take tests. Write the stuff down. When you do that, what are your strengths? Okay, great. I'm highly analytical and I'm really hardworking. And but I'm not, my weakness is communicating interpersonal relationships. This is me. This is where I started, right? What I do, I started a blog. Why? Because analytical, hardworking people can do things like that really, really well. So I took advantage of my strengths right away. Then I went to work on my weaknesses. The communication, interpersonal relationship piece of the puzzle took couple of years to figure out.
Wow.
Okay. So that's the plan, whether you're in the UK or anywhere. What are your strengths? How can you capitalize on them right now? Get busy doing that, because you're gonna excel at that in all likelihood. And then conscious of your weaknesses and work on them. Get to work on them. Whether that's personal development, you might be the flip side. Maybe you're one of those people that just is connected personally, and you just instantly, you light up every room you walk into, right?
Yep.
But your work ethic sucks, and you're really disorganized, you know, and you're flaky. Hey, great. Go get in a room with people and have fun. In the meantime, get a calendar, you know, get organized, start to work on those weaknesses that are the thing that are, they're going to cap you, right?
Yeah.
They're going to cap your success until you can kind of break through that. So I think that's my advice to really any new coach. And I think that applies no matter where you're at.
So I've got a question from Lombe. What worked for you in engaging guys? And this is in relation to Lombe, who did 80-Day Obsession and loved it, even though it was kind of mostly marketed for ladies and guys had sort of fixed mindset. So,
right. Sorry, my dog's getting upset. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. You're already doing it. You're already doing it, which is guys only in a group.
Yeah,
guys only in a group. You can have men and women in a group together, and it's okay. And the men will participate on some level. You'll never get into the deeper issues that are going on in their head unless there's no women around. Women will open up. They'll tell you all about everything. It doesn't matter whether there's guys in the group. They're probably a little bit different when there's women only. I wouldn't know. But what I know is that when there are men only in a group, and I have like a guys only group, it's just different. They react completely differently when there are no women around, and they will be much more vulnerable. They will talk to you about what's going on in their lives. They'll tell you what scares them. You get them into a group with women, and they won't. I think, you know, as far as like, I think Lift 4 is going to be, you know, for those men's groups, those started because of Body Beast. That's in, you know, that was 2000, I don't know, 13 or 12. I don't remember now. But that's where that started. I was like, this is a great program for guys. I'm going to start focusing on guys. But I have guys in my group who are cyclists. I'm a big cyclist. I ride on a velodrome and I ride road and I got a mountain bike. I mean, I kind of do it all. There's guys, that's what they do. They're in the group because they use the performance line.
Yes.
Sports is a great unifier. You know, sports is a great unifier, or at least a common thread, right? Even if you've got people who have competing teams, and they can have a place where they debate, which I think is another thing about a guys only group, is that don't limit it to Beachbody. Let people post about their lives and sports and, you know, whatever other things, wherever it kind of goes.
That makes sense.
That's with the dynamic. We first noticed this when we did these men's leadership events a couple of years ago, because it was only guys in the room, and we were like, you know, I think we want to have a bar. Like, you know, maybe that's a little off topic, but you know, we actually had a bar, and we've had a bar at every one. We have a bar. Bar's open, you know, at noon. Okay, so like not at 9 a.m., but at noon, the bar's open. Hey, go grab a cocktail. We're gonna have like social hour, right? Mm-hmm. And we just take like half an hour, something like that. You know, we're up on stage. People are really free with their language. You know, the dynamic just changes entirely when there's no women around, and men are very protective.
Interesting. That's fascinating, and that's a great tip. Look, Dave, I know we've gone over our time, and I've got some other questions which I'm going to collate, and I think what I'll do is I'll communicate with you, and we'll answer some more questions at offline, and I'll post them back into the group because I don't want to take more of your time as well.
Or if you want me to jump into the group, I can do that too.
Oh, that's awesome as well. Yeah, maybe we should do that. So, okay, well, I'll figure that out. But look, it's been great catching up with you. It's been a while, and we're going to hopefully see you soon anyway. But in the meantime, thanks very much. Appreciate these have been we're at 38 minutes in. It's been amazing. There's been so many takeaways here. I'm sure everyone's been writing a lot of stuff down, but this is literally a wealth of experience. I kind of describe you as a veteran of Beachbody, and I think in
10 years, I'm good with that after 10 years.
In the best way possible. So look, overwhelmed with how much you've been able to give away in terms of your knowledge here. Thank you so much, and we'll let you get on with your day and speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, everybody.